I have a number of these Philips Sonicare toothbrushes, which are really great, except that the batteries eventually will stop charging. And a lot of times, it's easy enough just to get another toothbrush, but we can actually replace the batteries in these. At this point, even after I leave this one on the charger for a while, you just get a subtle click. You can feel the mechanism is moving just a touch, but it doesn't have enough power to even start the motor. See, when I put this one on the charger, it does indicate that it's charging, but even leaving that way for a long time, occasionally I'll get it to come on for a couple seconds, but it won't last even long enough to get that indication that the timer's ticking down. It responds immediately to the charger, but doesn't get any further than that. So I purchased this replacement battery from Kastar. This is actually the second one of these I've done. Let's see this toothbrush here, HX6240. So Kastar makes a number of these. This particular model, the HX6240, Kastar will sell a replacement for about $9. And I have one of those here. You can see the HX6240-05 listed right here on the page. And that's exactly what's on the bottom of the toothbrush there. You can also see, while we're looking at it, that there's a Torx T8 screw right in the center of the bottom, which does have a flat slot in it, so you can use a flathead screwdriver as well. I'm going to take a Torx T8 and just take that out. And if we haven't already removed the implement here, we will need to do that because we'll need to push the entire thing through. Can be a little difficult if it's been sealed for a long time. But the bottom will come out like this. And that's all it begins to look like. Now the coil for charging is actually wrapped on a piece of plastic which doubles as a clip, which keeps the entire toothbrush mechanism inside this plastic sheath. So it's a little bit difficult, but we'll want to actually grab each of these two and bend them slightly inward while we actually pull that mechanism out of the bottom of the toothbrush. It's going to be a little difficult to show this while I'm doing it, but I will do my best. I might just pull down a little bit so that I can get it out of the socket. So it's actually folded slightly over at this point. And on the other side, obviously, if I press it back down, it's just going to snap back into place. So I'm going to hold it up, but try to do something similar from the edge. There we go. Pushing from the back on the spindle will help get that second clip past the point that it clips in. And then the entire toothbrush mechanism will come out here. See, there's the motor, control board, that charging coil, which is wrapped around the mechanism with those two clips on it. If you're looking there, you'll see that the two plastic grabs for those clips. And then these little guys are just very gently inserted on to cover the battery and keep it from being able to move around too much. They're almost rubbery rather than plastic. You can kind of peel that one off the outside. And the battery is just soldered in and clipped in with these little red tabs. It's not too hard to push out, except it is soldered onto that main board here with these two little points. So what we need to do is heat up those 2 points and remove the solder that's in there so that this battery can just slide right back out of the back. So I'll just get the soldering iron right up into those 2 points and use a solder sucker to pull the loose solder off of there. Okay, that's melted. Not quite. That was better. Starting to become loose here. Maybe one more shot. Okay, let's try the other side. Solder's melted. You don't want to transmit too much heat through to the battery, but the contacts are pretty thin, so it's not going to be a huge problem. Oh, dumping solder on the board. Just to get it flowing. There we go, that's nice. Okay, let's see if these contacts are free here. They should just bounce freely between the ends. And if there's just a little bit of solder, that's okay, because it'll break away. That one is completely free. This one doesn't seem quite free. Give it a little bit of a tougher manipulation. And that actually just broke free, so that's perfect. And now we should be able to push the battery through from these holes in the back here. And it should just slide right through. I have to give it a little bit more than my fingernails can do. Perfect. And there is the battery. And we'll open up our replacement battery here. It's very similar. And we do have a reminder for our polarity there. Of course, this board really will only have one possible polarity. If you could look really carefully at the solder mask there, there is a plus on the plus side. Okay, so we'll pull these pieces of sheathing off, and it's just a little bit bent from shipping. You can see on the old battery that these are really perpendicular to the ends, so a little bit of bend might just need to be happening there. And then as we insert this battery, we just want to make sure that the two holes there line up with these. We might just bend that just a touch more for that sake. And then not only will I go through that red hole, but also then, with any luck, straight through those holes in the PCB. You can see, if you look really carefully, that those are both popping through the ends there. And now we just need to apply a little bit more solder to bridge those contacts back together. You always want to heat the joint. We don't want to heat it so much that the battery actually soaks that heat. Just long enough though that the 2 points of contact are hot enough themselves to absorb that hot melted solder right in. Just like so. A little more there. This one might just do a touch more. You don't want it to be so loose that the repeated strain of just holding the toothbrush will actually cause those solder joints to break. The battery is held in pretty carefully, but you don't want vibration points to weaken those joints, and adding a little extra solder can just help stiffen them. Okay, so now that that new battery is in there, we'll want to put these two little protective cages back on. This one just slides on this way, and it really doesn't, it's not held on by anything. This other one has a little bit more of a hold on it. Just want to brush off any loose pieces of solder that came out of the soldering gun there. And this chip sits right in that little hole there. And the two clips in the little red slots. Just like so. And this now can slide back in, button facing the button on that, on the exterior. Just hold these two together until they're passed, and you'll see it actually turned on. The button will actually touch and make contact. So if that happens, don't be alarmed. And this just slides all the way in. And clearly the toothbrush is working now. And we will pop this cap right back on. And take that little T8 screw, back thread just a touch, and screw that in. It's now working. All this needs now is a fresh implement. It is generally good to give lithium-ion batteries an infrequent charge cycle. Let them actually get towards the bottom of their capacity before recharging them. Don't just leave them always charging every day. It's a little bit different than like a lead acid battery. You can see it is charging. That should be good to go.